Alright, well that's okay. We don't need to go to sleep yet.
That's fine. Excuse me.
Hmm?
While I eat this can of bacon.
I was teaching World War II this week to my students, and one of the things I realized is that Canadians invented preserved bacon in a tin.
No way.
Yep. Well, I mean, if some country was going to do it, it probably would have been Canada. We love their canned meat,
True.
disgusting as it is. But yeah, it was in conjunction with Britain actually, as part of a program to help Britain's food supply.
Yeah, we were running pretty low during the war.
Send over tons of bread, and so yeah, they were trying to like make ways to preserve bread, and they preserved, powdered eggs, powdered milk, two of the things I eat a lot of. Powdered eggs, yummy. I just I just always use them to make muffins for my students. That on their own they're pretty gross, but
Yeah, if I was on rations, powdered eggs would do.
oh no, no, you gotta make it with something else. They by themselves they're gross. Well, I scrambled eggs by themselves are kind of gross to begin with.
I kind of love
Not a
scrambled
huge
egg.
fan. Okay, you might adjust. Same thing with like the powdered milk. It's all skim milk.
Mm.
So if you're not used to skim milk, then it's kind of hard to adjust to it. But I mean, I eat the powdered milk and the powdered eggs and beans, dried beans.
I'd pretty much eat anything, I'm sure.
I was making hummus the other day, and
Hummus is
someone
awesome.
it is, and someone taught me this trick where you add just like a teaspoon of baking soda because I make my hummus from the dried beans, not from canned beans. So you add like a teaspoon to the water as you're boiling it, and like after you've let them soak overnight, of course. And wow, they just like the shells come right off, and it makes the smoothest, creamiest hummus you've ever had.
Oh my god, I need to get a recipe.
Um, you take the beans, put them in water overnight, put them in a pot of boiling water with a little bit of baking soda, and then you take the skins off, and then you just mash them. That's hummus. You can
That's
add
very
a clove of garlic when it's boiling, I guess. Like to do that.
that I can do.
Do you cook for yourself?
Mhm.
Well, that's cool.
Usually lazy stuff, but vegetables and that.
Where I live here, they put everything in porridge, and I've never seen like things I never knew they put in porridge. They put in porridge here.
In porridge.
Yeah,
Or like non-sweet things.
yeah. Like they have duck porridge, so they make like
Oh
the
my
duck.
god.
They cut it up and they put it into the porridge.
What the hell?
Or this morning, like just frozen vegetables, like a bag of frozen vegetables, and they put that in the porridge. And I always grew up with sweet things like berries, or usually brown sugar and maple syrup, apple cinnamon.
Yeah, it's better. I need to go and grab some ammo from the tent just to make sure I get everything.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. Should get a. Oh man.
Okay.
just open the tent.
But yeah. What was the name of the book you had?
Give me a sec, it's just in the door. Wasn't a door. It's in my. It is called Father Goriot. Goriot.
Godot?
Nope. Goriot.
Gordot?
Goriot. It's good.
Oh, okay. I think I'm going to read some short stories from the Decameron.
That sounds good.
So, the Decameron is a bunch of stories. It was written by Giovanni Boccaccio, long, long time ago. I'm reading an English translation, of course. It was written in Italy, and it's basically so you have all these people who are escaping the plague. Well, no, that was Canterbury Tales. So you have all these people who are on, I think, a pilgrimage, and every night they stop and they tell a story to pass the time. So there's 10 of them, and I think it goes for 9 days. No, 10 days. So that yeah, that's why it's called Decameron. There's like 10 stories.
Cool. Down for it.
All right. I need to figure out which one I want to say. So I'm going to start on day the ninth, the sixth story. Two young gentlemen lodged the night with an innkeeper, whereof one goeth to lie with the host's daughter, whilst his wife unwittingly coucheth with the other, after which he lay with the girl, getteth him to bed with her father, and telleth him all, thinking to bespeak his comrade. Therewithal they come to words, but the wife, perceiving her mistake, enters her daughter's bed, and then, with stern words, appeases everything. So Caladrino, who had otherwise afforded the company matter for laughter, made them laugh this time also. When the ladies had left, devising of his fashions, the queen bade Pamphilo to tell, whereupon quoth he, Laudable ladies, the name of Nicolosa, Calandrino's mistress, has brought me back to mind the story of another Nicolosa, which it pleases me to tell you, for that therein you shall see how a good wife's ready wit did away with a great scandal. In the plain of Mugnoni, there was not long since a good man who gave wayfarers to eat and drink for their money, and although he was poor and had but a small house, he sometimes at a pinch gave, not every one, but sundry acquaintances, a night's lodging. He also had a wife, a very beautiful woman, by whom he had two children. One was a very good-looking young lady of 15 or 16 years of age, who was not yet married, and the other a little child, not a year old, whom the wife was still nursing. Now a young gentleman of our city, a sprightly and pleasant youth, who was often in those parts, had cast his eyes on the girl and loved her ardently, and she, who gloried greatly in being beloved of a youth of his quality, while studying with pleasing passions to maintain him in her love, became no less enamoured of him, and more than once, by mutual accord, thus their love had the desired effect. But that Pinocchio, for such was the young man's name,
Okay.
appeared to bring reproach. What?
What were they saying?
Who? No, okay, so
They mean
basically
that.
so far in this story, right, there's this young girl, there's this innkeeper who's married, and he has two kids. One who's like a 15 or 16-year-old girl, and a little boy who's still nursing. And so the girl is
Uh,
in love with Pinocchio. That's the young man's name that the girl loves.
okay.
However, his love for her changed from day to day, and he could no longer master his desire to foregather with her, and thought to find himself a means of harboring with her father, doubting not from his acquaintances with the ordinance of the latter's house, that he might in that event contrive to pass the night in her company, without any being the wiser. And no sooner had he conceived this design than he proceeded without delay to carry it into execution. So this young man's trying to get her, alone in the
Yeah,
bed for the
I
night.
see.
Yeah.
See that now. Okay, cool.
So accordingly, in company with a trusty friend of his called Adriano, who knew his love, he late one evening hired a couple of hackneys, and set thereon two pairs of saddlebags, filled belike with straw, with which they set out from Florence, and fetching a compass, rode till they overcame against the plain of Mugnon, it being by this time night time. Then turning about, as they were on their way back from Romana, they made for the good man's house and knocked at the door. The host, being very familiar with both of them, promptly opened the door, and Pinocchio said to him, "Look you, you must give us some shelter tonight. We thought we'd reach Florence before dark, but we have not availed to make such haste, but we find ourselves here, as thou seest, at this hour." "Pinocchio," answered the host, "you well know how little commodity I have to lodge such men as you. However, since the night has overtaken you here, and there's no time for you to go otherwhere, I will gladly harbor you as I may." The two young men accordingly alighted and entered the inn, where they first eased their hackneys, and after supper with the host, having taken good care to bring provision with them. Now the good man had but one very small bedroom, wherein were three pallet beds set as best he knew, two at one end of the room, and the third against them at the other end. Nor, for all that, was there so much space left one could go there otherwise than straightly. The least ill of the three of the host let make them ready for the two friends, and put them to lie there. Then, after a while, neither of the gentlemen being asleep, though most pretended to be, he caused his daughter to take herself to bed in one of the two others, and he himself lay down in the third with his wife, who set by the bedside the cradle wherein she had her little son. Things being ordered after this fashion, and Pinocchio having seen everything after a while, him seeing that everyone was asleep, he arose softly, and going to the bed where slept the girl he liked, laid himself beside her. For all she did it
What?
timorously, okay, Pinocchio has gone up in the night because they only have one bedroom and there's three beds in it. So the girl's sleeping in one bed, the parents are sleeping in another one, the baby's in the cradle, and the two Pinocchio and his friend are sleeping in the third bed. And now that everyone's asleep, Pinocchio has gone up and he's crawled into bed with the teenage girl that he likes. He's probably a teenager himself,
I should hope so.
right? So then it says, the latter, meaning the girl, by whom for all she did it timorously, he was joyfully received. So that kind of means like she kind of liked him being there. And with her, he proceeded to take of that pleasure which both most desired. So I think you know what
I
that
could see
means.
where we're going here.
Yeah. However, whilst Pinocchio abode thus with his mistress, it chanced that a cat caused certain things to fall, which the good wife, waking up, heard, whereupon, fearing lest it was other what, she arose as she was in the dark, and betook herself where she had heard the noise. Meanwhile, Adriano, without intent of forethought, arose by chance for some natural occasion, that probably means he had to go to the washroom, and going to dispatch that, came upon the cradle where it had been set by the good wife, and unable to pass without leaving it, He took the cradle up and set it beside his own bed. Then, having accomplished that for which he had arisen, he returned and went back to sleep without recking of the cradle. The good wife, having searched and found the thing which had fallen was not what she thought, never troubled herself to kindle a light to see it, but, chiding the cat, returned to the chamber and groped her way to the bed where her husband lay. Finding the cradle not there, "Mercy o' me," she said, "what am I to do? I am a Christian. I had well nigh gone straight to our guest's bed," because she was expecting the bed to with the cradle to be beside the bed where her and her husband is, right?
Oh, of course.
So when she goes to the bed and the cradle's not there, she's like, "Oh, I almost went to the guest bed by mistake." So then going a little further and finding the cradle, which Antonia had picked up when he went to the washroom but never put back where he found it, she entered the bed whereby it stood and laid herself down beside Adriano, thinking to couch with her husband out. Adriano, who was not yet asleep, felt that, and received her well and joyously, and laying her abroad in a trice, clapped on all sail to the no small contentment of the lady. So, yeah. So she mistakenly gets into bed with Adriano, Nuccio's friend, and apparently he, no small contentment of the lady, so apparently he was quite good.
So this is
Meanwhile,
just a raunchy sex
this is
story.
classic literature.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
I see it.
Pinocchio, fearing lest sleep should surprise him with his last, and having taken of her his fill of pleasure, so basically done with her, arose from her to return to his own bed to sleep. And finding the cradle in his
Ouch.
way, because, sees the cradle, took the adjoining bed for that of his host, where, going a little farther, he lay down with the latter, who awoke at his coming. So he goes into the bed with the husband, who wakes up.
Oh dear.
Pinocchio, thinking he's beside Adriano, said, "I tell you, there was never so sweet a creature as Nicolosa. Cock's body, I've had with her the rare sport ever man had with woman, more by token that I have gone upwards of 6 times into the country since I left thee." 6 times. I think he's bragging. The father hearing this talk and being not pleased at all, said
Naturally.
first to himself, "What a devil is this fellow do here?" Then more angered than well advised, "Pinocchio," he said, "this has been a great piece of villainy of thine, and I know not why you should have used me thus, but by the body of God I will pay thee for it." Pinocchio, who was not the wisest kid in the world, saw his mistake, addressed not himself to mend it as best he might, but said, "Of what wilt you pay me? What canst thou do to me?" Therewithal the hostess, the wife, who thought herself with her husband, now realizes and says, turns to who she's with, turns to Adriano and says, "Good lack, hark to our guests, how they are at I know not what words together." Quoth Adriano, laughing, "Leave them do. God land them all in an ill ear. They drank over much yesternight." So the good wife, perceiving she had heard her husband scold, and hearing Adriano speak, incontinent perceived where and with whom she had been, whereupon, like a wise woman as she was, she arose forthnight without saying a word, and taking her little son's cradle, carried it at a guess, for that there was no jot of light to be seen in the chamber, to the side of the bed where her daughter slept, and lay down with the latter. Then, as if she had been roused by her husband's clamor, she called him, and inquired what was to do between himself and Pinocchio. He answered, "Hearest thou what he says he has done this night with our daughter?" "Mary," she said, "he lies in his throat, for he was never with Nicolosa, seeing that I have lain here all night, more by token that I have not been able to sleep a wink, and thou art an ass to believe him. You men drink so much of an evening, you do nothing but dream all night, and fare hither and thither without knowing it, and fancy you do wonders. 'Tis a thousand pities you don't break your necks. But what did Pinocchio yonder? Why bide he not in his own bed?" Adriano, on his part, seeing how adroitly the good wife was about to cover her own shame and that of her daughter, chimed in with, "Pinocchio, I have given thee 100 times not to go abroad, for that thy trick of arising in thy sleep and telling for true extravagances thou dreamest will bring thee into trouble some day or other. Come back here, God give thee an ill night." So you're all caught up now?
Yes, it's a lot though.
Yeah. So yeah, the wife, knowing that her husband's going to be mad, and that she doesn't want that she's just had sex with Adriano and not her husband, so she crawls in bed with the daughter and pretends to be like Hey, I've been in bed with your daughter all night. You guys are just drunk and dreaming. And your stupid
Oh
husband
wow.
will believe this drunk young youth, what this drunk youth is telling you. The host, hearing what his wife and Adriano said, began to believe in good earnest that Pinocchio was dreaming, and accordingly, taking him by the shoulders, he fell to shaking and calling him, saying, Pinocchio, awake, return to thine own bed. Pinocchio, finally catching on, all that had been said, began to wander off into other extravagances after the fashion of a man a dream, whereas the host set up the heartiest laughter in the world. At last he made believe to awake for stress of shaking, and calling to Adriano said, Is it already day that thou call me? Ay, answered the other, come hither. Accordingly, Pinocchio, disassembling and making a show of being sleepy-eyed, arose at last from beside the host and went back to bed with Adriano. The day came, and they being risen, the host fell to laughing and mocking at Pinocchio in his dreams, and so they passed from one jest to another, till the young man, having saddled their rounchies and strapped on their valises, I can never say that word,
No
and
idea.
drunken with the host, remounted to horse and rode away to Florence, no less content with the manner in which the thing had betided them with the effect itself thereof. Thereafter, Pinocchio found other means of foregathering with Nicolosa, who vowed to her mother that she had certainly dreamt the thing. Wherefore the good wife, remembering her of Adriano's embracements, inwardly avouched herself alone to have waked.
Very weird situation.
This is classic literature, though.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm thinking I might. Oh, actually, it might be too late. I was going to say for me to read something, but I probably could. I'd have to get a drink though beforehand. Throat
Okay,
is
you
a
go
bit
get a
mashed
drink.
up. What have we got to read? Because it couldn't be classical literature. It needs to be something relatively tangible.
Um,
My tired nature.
I have I have De la Terre à la Lune if you're into French.
Definitely not. I suck at French.
I have The Man Who Was Thursday, which is a more modern Western, or Hunger, which is another more modern Western, or Nigel Saga, which is very classical Nordic literature.
Modern Western sounds alright.
Okay.
I love how many books you got. Have we really not got any in this tent? Sure, there's one in the other tent.
Here,
Second.
take this one. Well, you can borrow this one here. I have lots. I don't like the Western.
Oh, I don't have to read that. I can go on a book hunt.
Why can I not drop this one?
There we go.
Did I drop it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. All right. You read. I'll just tuck into bed here.
No, I might have to go and make a drink for minutes there and get myself
Okay.
all set up to read. What are you doing?
I'll just. I'm just. No. Saying hi. Hi.
Hello. You want to like chill out
Okay,
for
all my notes are.
5, 10 minutes? I self situated here.
Okay, you get yourself situated. I'm just gonna hang out here. No one can see me. No one's gonna come hurt me, and if they do, I'll read them to death.
Yes, that's the plan. You got a gun.
Okay.
You don't use them, but just in case.
Um, I have this thing.
Yes. Perfect. Suits you.
If not, there's guns in the tent.
Oh
Wait, I
yeah,
don't
there's a
think I have
ton.
a thing for here.